Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to our first author interview for our new release coming out soon, Breakthrough Wisdom of the Soul. For those of you that don't know me, I am Gloria Coppola and the founder of Powerful Potential and Purpose Publishing. And today I'm bringing on a woman that I have known for many years because we both had massage schools, Felicia Brown, to share her experience that she had specifically during COVID-19. And I know a lot of you are going to relate to this because we've all had some challenges, but she found a unique way that helped her rise up out of her depression and do something different. So if you have questions for her as we do this interview, please drop them down below and I will keep track of that so that she can answer them for you. So let me bring on this amazing woman. Here she is. Hi, Felicia.
Hi, Gloria. Thank you so much for doing this interview and for putting the book together. I'm really excited.
Well, thank you for being part of it, number one, because I've been guided to do these projects, and what better time during COVID to bring inspiration and hope to people. Your story is going to be one that directly affects people that are dealing with some of these challenges of depression. So thank you for being vulnerable.
Well, what else can you be, except being real this time? If you're ever going to be yourself, now's the time.
You got that right. And I think that's what this year has done for many of us. So in the book, actually, Felicia put a quote there, which I wanted to bring to all of us today from White Eagle, because I really feel it has a lot to do, not only with the title of the book, We Got a Portal, but this moment in humanity we are going through can now be seen as a port or a hole. And I think that is so appropriate for the transitions that I'm seeing people go through, Felicia. How about you?
Well, for sure. I know for me, I've thought about that quote so many times since I first read it, and know that making a decision to move upward is a daily choice, sometimes a moment to moment choice. It's so easy to get sunken down with just all the things swirling around right now. So I'm trying to use it to push myself forward instead of holding me back.
That's a good thing. I know you share in your story that you woke up one morning and you were describing your depression. And I know that you are a go-getter out there. You help a lot of people in the healing arts. Was this is depression first something that you deal with off and on? Because I know a lot of us who are highly sensitive beings, empaths and healers do have that kind of fluctuation. So is it something you've dealt with in life prior to COVID?
Oh, yeah, a lot. In fact, it's funny, over my years of teaching and speaking, a lot of people will say to me, oh, well, you probably don't know what it's like to be depressed, or you probably don't, I'm embarrassed to tell you about my anxiety. And I'm like, oh, please, I've been going through this since I was a teenager. So it is something I've dealt with my whole life. And I'm grateful to say that by and large, I manage it without medication. Not that there's anything wrong with medication, but I found it didn't work for me for the most part. And it was helpful it's been helpful to find natural ways to deal with it as best I can. But I will say that this COVID time has been really way harder than anything I've experienced in a long time.
I am right there with you, my friend. I too deal with anxiety, depression, and people don't believe it. They're like, "But you're always smiling." Well, come with us when we're behind our own doors, right? Or we're trying to push through one of our meetings or coaching calls, and doing some self-talk ahead of time, which has helped us, which is what helped you actually during this period of time. So, how did depression take a hold of you in a different way during this year?
Well, this year has been different than anything else. So, for me, it was just the lack of knowing and having an idea of what was going to happen. I guess that's something that I sort of cling to normally. Like, I know what my future holds. I'm very much a goal setter. And I don't know if I would call myself a planner exactly, but I set goals. And unfortunately, this COVID crisis put all my goals on hold. So suddenly I didn't really have something to accomplish, if that makes sense. And it was really hard for me to figure out how to spend my days. Um, being aimless is not something I do well. And I think that if there was any real difference, it was not having something concrete to focus my attention on.
So being a type A personality, how did you manage to redirect your energy? Because in your book, you share that, you were in bed one Sunday morning and you were clouded in sorrow. You wanted to basically kind of put the sheets over your head. How did you manage to take the type of personality that you are and redirect it through all this?
Well, sometimes I didn't manage, honestly. I mean, I think that's really the secret here that is exposed, if anything, is that I didn't really manage it. I was a basket case. My husband, well, he just didn't know what to do with me. I'm usually so up and so positive and telling him about all my achievements and, hey, let me tell you what happened at work today. And suddenly I was just like a crying, sobbing mess a lot of the time. So how did I manage it? Well, I did a lot of jigsaw puzzles. I mean, honestly, I tried to find things to challenge myself. Like, it sounds kind of silly, but doing a puzzle is a goal. It's something that you have a set start, middle, and finish. And that was really what I did. Honestly, worked on some really hard jigsaw puzzles to start out with, just to occupy my mind. And I did a lot of things for my staff. I have a spa in Greensboro. We just reopened recently. But I did a lot of things to help them, staying in touch with them and trying to do things to help them. But otherwise, I was kind of scrambling. I didn't deal with it well at all.
Well, I think you actually did. I want to thank you first and foremost for your vulnerability. And I bet people out there can appreciate it, because no matter whether we're a type A personality and we're successful business people, we are also emotional beings. And when something throws any of us off our mark, we're going to get emotional. And if we don't release that pressure inside of us, we get sick. And I found myself too going through similar things and thinking I'm having this mental breakdown. And on some level, it was. And it was a good thing, just like it was for you, because something shifted a lot for you. So you start talking about quacking up. And as a successful business owner, what prompted you to do something so far out of your norm with rubber ducks?
Well, I had so many days back in the spring this year where I was feeling despondent, hopeless. And I found that being outside was one of the few things that really helped me kind of cope. Thank goodness for living in the country and having a beautiful backyard. So I've spent a lot of time outside. And I think just wanting to be outside was part of what made me think of rubber ducks. And I won't tell the whole story because I want people to be surprised. But I will say that I have had these two little guys right here, see, sitting on my bathtub. And, I never really thought about it, but rubber ducks are just a symbol of happiness around the world. I've come to find now that I've been uh, playing with them since the spring. But rubber ducks, they just make people smile. And I had a memory of a day or time where I really got a lot of enjoyment out of the rubber ducks. And so I kind of just wanted to go back to that feeling. And so one day I just started playing with them. And as we say, the rest is history. Quickie and Quacky, that's these two guys. They sort of started it all, but I have a lot more than just these two. There's a whole little, we call them the Impromptu Rubber Duck League. They are a part of we have races with them called the Impromptu Rubber Duck Regatta. And sometimes I laugh when I'm telling people about it because I think, wow, do I still sound like a serious, successful business person, author, speaker, whatever? But then I go, you know what? I don't care. They make me happy. So duck
Hey,
them.
but you're some of the most successful people in the world. I mean, look at Robin Williams, a comedian, making us laugh all the time and dealing with depression. Okay.
Yeah.
So, it's hard to hold that very serious way about us all the time. And we got to have some fun. And I think that lightness is what is helping many of us get through this. Because when I was reading your story and I was going over the draft while we were doing the story development, I got a picture of you because now, guys and gals out there, I know Felicia only from the education field in the massage world. Okay. I don't know her really that well on a personal level. So here I'm reading, armed with my garden tool turned walking stick, I fought off spider webs and lost balance to become the brave heroine rescuing the stranded races from peril. Sweaty and satisfied, I was victorious in my quest and emerged from the woods both grateful with both grateful competitors in hand. I mean, I gotta tell you, I was right there in the woods with you, looking, feeling you, and actually chuckling because it was delightful to engage with you on this level, and also to see
Mhm.
Gloria goddess that's coming up in you. So there were so many little tidbits that I got from your story, and I'm sure others will too. But what is it that when you wrote this, what is it that you really wanted to project to people? What message did you want them to get that can help them in some way, not only through COVID, but through life?
Well, if there's any one thing that this whole experience has taught me is that you have to find joy wherever it is. And as the ducks would say, it's okay to look silly to find your joy. I have found that they have really interspersed my life with a sense of humor that, I mean, you may not believe it, but I actually am a kind of a silly, funny person when I teach. I love to ham it up. I love to make my students laugh. I love to engage and entertain. And I think that's part of why this kind of went so well for me, because it gets to blend all my skills, the impromptu rubber duck regatta and writing about it and all of that. But I think that tapping into joy and being active and seeking it out. I mean, 2 days ago, I ordered a weighted hula hoop because I've decided I have to learn how to hula hoop. And that's something that I would have never done in the past. I wouldn't have um, engaged in such a frivolous activity because it seemed like, oh, well, I'm too old for that, or I'm too I'm too old, or I'm not coordinated enough, or I'll look silly or whatever. And now I'm like, well, hey, I don't care. I'm going to do it, because if not now, when? And
Absolutely.
I think I've experienced that feeling before when I started doing triathlons about 10 years ago. It's something I kept putting off and putting off, and, saying, oh, I don't have the talent, or I'm not strong enough, or, I'm not going to do very well. And then I thought to myself one day, well, if I don't do it now, when am I going to do it? I'm only getting older. And so I started doing triathlons, and it was a fantastic experience. So joy, isn't quite as hard to accomplish as finishing a triathlon. Sometimes it just takes finding a rubber duck on your bathtub and seeing where it'll take.
Well, I first saw your ducks, obviously, before you wrote this story, which is why, we started our conversation because, there you were in the woods, with these ducks and talking about the water and the streams and the weather. You were like a news reporter. And now we got this one. And it was hysterical. And it lightened my day, one, to see you taking on this other personality just to have fun and bring that joy in. And then to see what you were doing and how you were doing and what was evolving. So what's evolving with these ducks now?
What's evolving? Well, I never know. I mean, they surprise me all the time, the things that happen with them. I mean, I had some grand plans for the summer that just kind of got away from me, but eventually I'm planning to have some sort of a duck Olympics. We have, in addition to our creek, we have a Quacking slide, which is a modified slip and slide. And we've come up with a number of different duck related activities that I think could be fun fall and winter sports. So I just don't know exactly. I kind of let them dictate what is going to happen. But, sometimes things happen with ducks that I have no control over. And I mean, really, it's all it just flows from me or through me from them. So I don't ever know. I mean, they all have stories that emerge. So I think a larger duck book, a larger version of Quacking Up or something related may be a part of it. I'd really like to do documentary film
I
down the
love
road.
it, a
Um,
documentary.
yeah, yeah, but there's a lot of things that take more planning and time than I have the brain space for right now. So, if all we do is race in the creek, that's okay too.
Yeah, somebody just wrote, I think on a global scale, we need this book right now. It's a perfect time for people. People need to find the light in the darkness. I can't wait for it. Thank you. Absolutely. Absolutely. So I was going to ask you something, and now I can't remember what I was going to ask you. Oh, the ducks have different personalities, I noticed in the book. Do you find these personalities are also related to you or people you know?
It cracked me up the first time you asked me this, and I won't go into all the details, but I do hear their voices. Like they do have very distinct personalities, and it's not always what I'm expecting. So for example, this is MC Killer. MC Killer is a whale, obviously, but he's also Welsh. So he has a bit of an accent, a little different than the British accent. And he he got bullied a lot when he was in school. He got bullied a lot, and he found his confidence in the water, playing water polo when he went to college at Stanford. So how these things emerge, I can't explain them. They tell their stories, and where they'll go, I don't know. Will he have his own talk show someday? It's possible. Will he just simply,
Talk show. Cool.
yeah, will he just simply, MC Killer, he's actually the captain of the dream team. That's what we call the group of 5 original ducks, and he's the captain. So, his leadership skills may really come to the forefront, and who knows where he's going to take us. But here's what I see for the ducks. They have invaded my life. They are a part of my conversations. I have found that the whole way I talk to people, sometimes when I start talking about the ducks, it changes. Because I'm not talking about these things. I'm talking about these they're not little people, but they're little creatures that inhabit my daily life. And I'm just open to wherever the journey is going to take us together.
Do you feel as well, 'cause I've been tracking you and following you on social media, do you feel as well that opening up to this world of these intuitive messages through these ducks has also shifted your perspective in nature too? Have you noticed anything else happening when you're taking your walks out there?
Well, it's interesting. I do think the ducks are responsible for me suddenly becoming a bird watcher. So now, for the first time ever in my life, I have bird feeders on my deck. I put them outside of my bedroom window. And so every morning, I can't wait to see what's going to be out there. And I get so much joy and pleasure from these little birds that are on my window. This morning, for example, there was a goldfinch in the bird feeder, and I woke up and I was so happy, to see this goldfinch out there, just having a couple of sunflower seeds. But that's something that wasn't a part of my life before. So I would say definitely I'm a lot more duck focused. I mean, I'm always looking for ducks, and they seem to find me. But birds in general, and it does seem too that nature seems to reveal itself to me more. This for the first time ever this year, we've had tree frogs both at my house and my office, which I've never seen here before. So maybe I'm just becoming a magnet. The ducks have put the word out that I'm a pretty cool chick, and that I can be trusted.
You're a pretty cool chick. I like that. No pun intended.
No pun intended.
Well, it's interesting that you brought up the awareness of the birds, because I just recently relocated, and right out here is a huge window with nothing but trees where I get to watch all types of birds and hummingbirds and finches all day long while I'm working. And it's amazing. Sometimes I don't get my work done as fast, but they're teaching me so much about beauty, about harmony, about co-creating things. I mean, there's so much wisdom that is coming from everything around us if we just stop and pay attention. So perhaps when we all thought 2020 was a year of clarity and vision, we didn't realize greater power somehow is going to wake us up to all of this. What do you think about that?
Well, what you're saying about what you're noticing, I watch the different birds on our deck too, and it's fun to see their little personalities. I've determined that the hummingbird, at least in my house, the hummingbirds are the referees. They're the referees and they're the gossips because they're the ones that fly around to all the other little birds and like, hey, what are you doing? Hey, you should look over here. Stop fighting. There's plenty of food. It's pretty interesting to see their personalities emerge. And I think, I mean, part of this time, whether the ducks brought it on or not, is just allowed me to slow down and notice the world around me. And,
Yeah.
would I have ever heard the wisdom that the ducks have shared with me in another time? I kind of doubt it. Like maybe I would have gotten to it eventually. Um, but the way that they speak to me is so, I don't know, it's so funny and happy and uplifting. It's like they just don't take life too seriously. And that's what I
I
notice
like
about
that.
the birds too. They're just kind of like, hey, what are you doing? I'm gonna eat some food. And they just have time, hey, let's fly over here. Let's go do a duck race. They don't care. They're just in the moment all the time and having fun. And if it's
And
gonna
they're not
rain,
watching the
they're gonna,
media either, so they're
yeah,
having fun.
I know,
They're
right?
staying away from all the distractions, and they're living their lives in that joy. And somebody says they showed up in your life for a reason, for sure, and obviously have led you to bird watching. Birds are messages in themselves. This is great. Yeah, spread those.
Oh, yeah. Well, the thing about being a type A personality is it's so easy to get focused on or get tunnel vision on whatever it is you're trying to accomplish and to miss everything else. And there's something to be said for laser focus, which can be a really wonderful strength. But there's also something to be said for um, noticing everything that's going on around you and letting go of that laser focus, allowing yourself to become part of your universe around you instead of like shooting through it. And, I've been a shooting star for a long time. It's kind of nice just to be floating around in space some. I like it.
Yeah, I do too. We have a lot of similarities in our lives and our business and everything. And this year, I mean, I've been like ricocheted in so many different ways, like things that I thought were supposed to be didn't turn out to be. And yet, once I moved through it, I just kind of had a chuckle. I was like, wow, you're really putting me where I need to be, And a
Yeah.
big part of that, obviously, has been working on all these books with everybody because it was not, like you were saying, we were goal oriented at one time and very focused. It wasn't like any of this was a goal. I was receiving messages over a year ago that I was like, why is this happening? And why is this happening? But like you, I just kind of went with the flow to see where was it going to lead me. And the goal was actually a divine purpose that showed up. And I think the same thing is happening for a lot of us because I see a lot of our colleagues shifting little things in their lives or their businesses, don't you?
Oh, well, sure. I mean, I didn't have this as a goal. I've been a writer for a long time and I've written several books. I've collaborated on a number of books with other authors in different ways, whether contributing a chapter or writing a story or more of an essay, but nothing like this book. And to be honest, I've never thought of myself as someone that was a creative writer. I mean, I'd like to be. I've always wanted to be, but a fictional writer, I just don't have I don't know. I hate dialogue. So that causes problems when you write books about people that talk. So I I've kind of stayed away from that type of thing. And um, when I noticed the collaborative books that you were doing, I thought, gosh, I just don't know if I want to do something like that. That's kind of out of my wheelhouse. I'm used to doing other things. I think I'll just pause. And then the more I saw um, you sharing and posting about the other authors and just your journey in general about being open to wisdom, being open to spirit and so forth, I thought, maybe that is something I want to do. And a big credit to you, Gloria, for helping the story that was in there get cracked open. It really, I thought my story was good when I first wrote it, and you really helped it to be so much more. When I read it now and I look at the two, I'm like, wow, okay, there was so much to tell that I wasn't able to even see was there. So it's exciting for me to see so much revealed in this story. And even friends of mine that have read everything else I've written are like, wow, this is different. So
Yeah.
thank you for that.
Oh, thank you for being open, coach to coach, right? We sometimes don't like to be coached, but it literally cracked open like an egg from a bird. It cracked open another piece that you brought this whole magnificent journey that did evolve differently. And those of you out there, her first draft, it was good, but it was very journalistic,
Mm-hmm.
So to be able to work with a colleague and a mutual coach here, to have to, kind of guide you in different ways, knowing you, so that egg could crack open, is also something I find that happens for a lot of people that are working with me on whether it's a collaborative book or a solo book, Felicia. And it's a beautiful process. And so I feel that gift that comes through me to help authors has also been part of everything up until this point in life that Spirit has says, now I gave you all these tools in life. You've been in the healing arts, you've been a writer, you've been all these things, a coach. Now it's like, it's so cool because you can put it all together, and your story did just wake up and evolve. It was fun to work with you. Thank you.
Well, it's funny, even as I'm listening to you talk about it, I'm thinking, what cracked open? My egg head. I mean, that's the thing. I had a shell. And I say this for people listening more than anybody, but it's a good revelation for me to have that that's the thing about being an achiever. And Gloria really talked about this with me before, but being an achiever, I have a very fixed vision about what I want and a goal that I have set, and like I have the vision, and I'm a bit controlling about it, which has been pointed out to me. Thank you so much, Gloria. Um, but she's absolutely right. And I mean, I'm just saying, you got to look in the mirror and believe and really see who you are. So my experience in writing this story and being a part of this book was literally cracking open this shield that I had put around myself, and to let what the ooey gooey goodness out. I thought it looked pretty good as an egg inside the shell, but when it cracked open, I was like, wow, there's gold in there. But I wouldn't have found it if I hadn't allowed that shell to be cracked. And that's I mean, it's kind of a silly metaphor, but I think a lot of us, those quote successful people, we get so caught up in who we think we are that we build that around ourselves. We create this mask or this shell that is what we present to the world. And sometimes it takes a big event to crack that open. I thought it was pretty well cracked open from the whole COVID experience. But it turns out there's more eggs. I'm like one of those little Russian, what are those dolls called? That there's a doll inside the doll inside the doll. Yeah. So we just cracked open and there's a bigger egg in there. But
first of all, I could recognize you because I also went through control issues in life, needless to say, until I was cracked and broken, and Humpty Dumpty couldn't put me back together the same old way. But even I look at the choice of the words used that came from God, powerful potential and purpose. We don't know our potential. We don't. And so when we stay in this nice little cube or egg or whatever we want to call it, it takes somebody else to be able to see how powerful we really are and to crack it open, find your purpose. And that has been amazing for me to witness with all the authors. We have somebody here that just commented. She said, this reminds me of the Fool in the tarot deck. The Fool is living his life in the present and doesn't know about fear or fearing the future. This is a life lesson. I am feeling this on a lot of levels. Thank you for sharing this with the world. Yes, absolutely. Thank you. So do you have any last words of wisdom from the ducks? Do one of the ducks want to talk to us?
Well, boy, it's hard to know. I think, Uni's going to tell his story in the book. He tells his story a little bit in the book, but you know, all of this really started with me and Uni. And Uni, I mean, the yellow ducks are the ones that put us in the water, but Uni and his story kind of are what propelled this whole thing forward. And for him and me, it's been about looking inward. It's been about looking inward and kind of coming to peace with ourselves and then getting back in the race. I mean, that's really what it is. And that is a daily exercise. It's a daily exercise. I can't stress it enough. So many people think badly of themselves because they haven't moved forward or they haven't gotten, done what they think they should do. And just like I always tell my coaching clients and students, marketing is a process. You don't build a business overnight. It's something you're always working on. Well, so is joy. Joy is a process, and you have to just keep taking steps towards it. And if there's anything these ducks have taught me, it's that you have to choose joy. You have to choose it again and again and again, and so we're going to choose joy. We're going to have fun. We're going to make people laugh. We're going to tell more stories. We're going to have more races, and we're going to smile. So I hope that you guys will check out the book when it comes out. I think it's going to be a fabulous read. I can't wait to see everybody else's stories in there myself. And I really hope that you'll like and talk about Quacking Up.
So we have a little comment here. Uni unifies with his chakra colored mane. Love his big heart. Yes, they all have great personalities. So when you pick up your copy of Breakthrough Wisdom of the Soul, October 10th, you're going to turn over to Felicia's page here, learn more about her. Look at that. Doesn't that look beautiful? This is my proof copy. So that's why we have this line going through it. I have the proof copy. And what I have to tell all of you is that when I'm in story development with them, it's hard to really sit back and just be the observer as a reader. So when I get this and I get to go read your story, let me tell you something. Now I'm really quacking up because I'm not in my head helping you with your story. Yes, look forward to it. It's going to be a smash. Besides Felicia's story, we have 7 other amazing authors in here, all with something unique to bring to our world. And it will be on sale October 10th on Amazon. So if you want to get in touch with Felicia, there is her website. She's also on Facebook and Instagram. So go follow her and check out her races with the ducks, have fun with her, get to know some of the ducks, because you may identify with ones that she talks about in here. When you watch her on social media talking about their personalities come out, it actually makes it better. I know it did for me to go in here and read and say, oh my God, that's the one that she was talking about. So it's fun. It's a lot of fun. And thank you for bringing the joy to our world. Much appreciated.
Oh, thank you, Gloria. Thanks for involving me in your project and the book and for today. And just thanks for spreading hope and positive energy to the world. I appreciate you.
I appreciate you too. So thank you for being here today, everybody. We're going to say goodbye to Alicia, give her lots of hearts and love, because I'm going to tell you, Quacking Up was a stretch to not only bring this into her life personally, but now to bring it not only to her colleagues and friends, but this is going out to the world. So give her some love, give her lots of love and kudos, because it was a courageous adventure for her and all of these authors to be so vulnerable. So have a great day, everybody, and quack up a little bit, right?
That's right. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.